Now, this was a pretty lame SmackDown, in my opinion. Now, this was a big show for Jimmy Uso. I feel like he was the narrator, he was the main event for this match, for the show, but he was also like the narrator throughout the show, right? They also had Jade Cargill turn heel, I guess. Now, Jade Cargill looks like a freaking beast. I love her attire. I love her appearance. I think she she will be a future champion. But the writing for her character is just so poor. Like, what is the context of her turning heel? Why? What is her motives? I know she wants to be a champion, but why is she jumping Tiffany Stratton? I'm pretty sure her and Tiffany Stratton have had feuds on and off for the past year, right? I just wish there was a storyline. I wish there was a reasoning. But, this is how it is, right? We just get turns out of nowhere. We need a pop. Let's just do something random, and then we're going to explain it later. That's how it always is. And honestly, I think they've been lost. Like, they didn't know what to do with Jade Cargill since Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade feud, right? I feel like that didn't have a correct ending, or I don't even know how that feud ended. I just think maybe Bianca got hurt, Naomi left, whatever happened, right? They didn't know what to do with Jade after that. She was just lost. I mean, she had a couple matches, and I remember she lost to Liv Morgan, but I just wish there was more just context to why she's, attacking Tiffany Stratton, right? Like, obviously she wants to be champion. That's obvious, right? And everyone wants to be champion. Just tell us a story, man. That's it. Let's get into the show, though. I mean, pretty average show. This basically happens every time. When Cody Rhodes is on the show, he comes out, has a little speech. He talks about how I hit Drew McIntyre with my championship. Now, should I apologize? And everyone's saying no, he should not apologize. Drew McIntyre comes out, interrupts Cody Rhodes. They come out. Drew McIntyre basically calls Cody Rhodes a hypocrite. He's lying to the fans. The fans fall for his BS. He's a politician. All this, the same old shit that they've been doing for a while. And at this point, I'm rooting for Drew McIntyre. We need a change. I'm tired of Cody Rhodes being champion. He's been champion for over a year now. I know John Cena had it, but it still felt like Cody had it. Because we all knew Cody was going to be the one probably to take it back. And that's what he did. Now, Jimmy Uso, well, before Jimmy Uso comes out, Cody Rhodes basically says, Enough! Fight me, basically. And as he gets ready to fight him, Jimmy Uso comes out of nowhere and jumps Drew McIntyre. We then have a segment of Drew McIntyre complaining to Nick Aldis, and before he can really spit out a sentence, he gets jumped again by Jimmy Uso. We then have Ilya Dragunov come out. He talks a little bit. Fans chant, you deserve it, he's a new champion. He basically says he's going to continue the U.S. Open legacy, which is nice. I feel like, for a guy like him who's not really established yet on the main roster, you need to build a natural feud with him, right? I don't like how he came back instantly and won the title. I'm not a huge fan of someone, who hasn't been on the show for a while. And it's not like he's been a guy who's always on the main roster. I'm pretty sure he's only been on the main roster for like 2 months, and then he got hurt. So, and when he was there, I'm not sure, he might have won a championship, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, because he's only been on the roster for a very short amount of time. But that's how Triple H does it. Braun Breaker did the same thing. I remember when he got called up, won the championship in the first week, and then there was no good feuds because the character that had the title wasn't a built-in character, a character that was built to be a champion. Like, these are the things that, there's, why is Ilya even champion at this point, right? There's no real storylines connected to him. There's no feuds that are connected to him. He did have a match. Aleister Black came out for, the U.S. Open title challenge, and hold up. They're really just stealing. They're stealing. What's his name? I forgot his name already because he hasn't been on the show. Cross. Karrion Kross. Aleister Black is literally just copying and pasting Karrion Kross. Right? They have the whole entrance now. They have Selena Vega, come out before. And we're honestly just watching a worse version of what Karrion Kross and Scarlett were doing. So, I just don't understand why we released them. If it was because of maybe him calling out Triple H, then that's some weak shit. Triple H got to grow some balls, bro. That, it's that simple. We then have a tag match with Shinsuke Nakamura and Rey Fenix versus Tama Tonga and JC Mateo. JC Mateo and Tama Tonga win. A very useless match, honestly, but We then get to the main event, right? We have Jimmy versus Drew McIntyre, and this being our main event, it's not a huge main event. It's not something I would pay to see, but Jimmy really balled out. I think this is one of his better matches. I think he has way more, I'm pretty sure he has way more moves than Jey Uso. I still don't understand why Jey Uso was the twin brother they chose to pick. When Jimmy, on the mic, he's way better too. Like, he doesn't have to pause every 5 seconds. Like, he's cutting promos. It looks like it's on the top of his head. It's not from a script. So, yeah, Jimmy Uso, man, I gotta give it. He was the star of the show. Even though the show is not great, he was, obviously they were trying to make him the star of the show, which, is always a plus for that wrestler. But, I think he played his part well. There was no botches from what I remember. No mess-ups from his promos. So, when you compare that to a Jey Uso, I think he played his part well. Now, what this leads to, right? I feel like the biggest mystery from the show was who jumped Jacob Fatu. And on the top of my head, I feel like there can only be 3 answers, right? Drew McIntyre, Jey Uso, or Jimmy Uso. I feel like those are the only 3. And I don't see a Jimmy Uso beating up a Jacob Fatu. Like, how is that possible? With the way that Jimmy was built at that time, there's no way that Jimmy would be able to beat the fuck out of Jacob Fatu. Same with Jey Uso. Like, that's just not believable. And even if, maybe that is believable in WWE's universe, right? Then that would basically turn Jey Uso heel, which I would not mind. I feel like Jey Uso needs to turn heel at this point. He cannot stay as a babyface without being able to cut a good promo, without being able to tell a good story. The easiest way to tell a story is to turn him heel. That's the easiest way to tell a story with Jey Uso, right? Those are the only 3 that I can really think of. Like, who else would jump Jacob Fatu? Who has a problem with Jacob Fatu? Roman Reigns? Maybe. Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa would be believable. Honestly, I forgot about him. But yeah, I feel like that's the biggest part of the show and probably the biggest part of SmackDown for the next 4 weeks. I just really hope next week they can just get to the end of this story or get to the end of this mystery, because I'm telling you, if 2 weeks later from now, if I don't know who attacked Jacob Fatu, I'm not going to care. I already don't really care, but I'm talking about it now, so I'm going to talk about it. But if they don't tell us who did it next week, or maybe the week after is honestly pushing it. Next week, if they don't tell us who did it, I'm not going to care, and most people won't. They're probably going to forget about it, and then Jacob Fatu is going to come back in like a month. There's going to be a huge pop, and then we're going to resume that storyline, and that's what they always do. It's very annoying. But that's going to be it for this video. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys soon. Peace out.